And so I had no dance, no parents, um, which left me alone.
Mm.
The only thing that saved me is my dance teacher had 2 amazing friends, actually many amazing friends, by the name of Belinda Sobey, Pam Rosa,
Hmm.
Danielle Clifford, and at this time, Pam and Danielle opened up a brand new studio called Harbor Dance Center, and
Ding,
I
ding,
was
ding.
12. Ding, 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 and I was 12 years old taking the bus down to Hastings Street.
No.
And
Welcome back to another episode of Briggs & Co., where we are leaving average for Joe. Oh, should I say Mo? This week I brought on Moe Brody. Some of you might know her and some of you might not, but if you are in the dance industry, you may know her from Harbor Dance Center in Vancouver, Canada's leading drop-in training facility. You also may know her from some of her international commercial work, some of her Hollywood blockbuster film work, some of her Vancouver sports team work. We dive into her career, her background as a child, leaving dance and then coming back into it at the age of 25. I mean, there is so much that you can walk away from this episode. It was an absolute pleasure to speak with Mo. Please give a warm welcome applause to Moe Brody. Hello?
hello. Oh my God, this is new technology for me.
Mo, isn't this cool?
Holy crap. Technology is for the win today.
It's a one click away.
I love this. I had no idea this was a thing, but leave it to Spotify to take it further.
Well, I don't think people realize barrier to entry is almost non-existent if you want to start a podcast.
This is incredible. So I'm going to ask, it's recording. Do you edit your podcast or not at all?
Well, it's up to guest, up to host. If I feel like
Oh,
episode
no, no,
is
no. It's up to my colon, and we'll get to that, I'm sure, in the episode.
Oh, I knew this would be good. I knew it'd be good. Mo, happy Monday.
Happy Monday to you, my friend.
How are you doing?
I just got back from yoga, so you got me at the best time. My namaste
Oh,
is here to stay.
she's zened.
I'm zen. It's great. It's the
Oh, good.
perfect time.
Mo, what does a Monday look like for you?
Oh, you know what? Every day is completely different. It's either I do have time for yoga, no time for yoga. I am going into the studio, I'm not going into the studio. I have lots of flexibility, and I'm actually really grateful for that.
Yeah, I think that's a huge thing for anyone in this industry is
Oh, yeah.
they love they love to be flexible.
Yeah, I'm very lucky, really lucky.
Okay, well, thank you for coming on. I know that a lot of guests will often ask, what the heck am I about to talk about? And my response is, I have no idea, but I'm excited for it. Um, what I normally do though, if there's a skeleton at all that I follow, is just because I'm a curious individual. This world that we live in is very, very individual experiences meshed together, and it forms who you are as a human. And I'm obsessed with the sort of connecting of the dots of all that.
Love it.
um, I want to know about your sort of pre-professional, earlier stage
Oh
Mo.
boy.
I would
Oh
love to.
dear.
May I be so bold as to ask you about kind of what it looked like Mo at 14, 15, 16?
Oh.
Really?
Oh, we're gonna lose your listeners. Or maybe they'll relate.
That's what
Some
I
people
mean.
do, yeah, some people do know my story. We actually have to go back earlier because at 14, I don't even think I was dancing anymore.
Okay, let's go back.
Yeah, let's go back. Rewind.
Yeah.
Um, I was I was a typical kid though in the dance studio doing everything. And back then we did acting and singing as well. And that's because I had the most amazing teacher. I had the kind of studio back in the day where it was one teacher for everything, but my one teacher was already working in stage and in film and TV, which meant all of us were along for that ride. I was
Mm.
auditioning for things, I was in TV shows at a really young age, and she is so lovely. In fact, her name is Val Easton, and she still works. She does a lot for Arts Club and Gateway. But what happens is a lot of things happen to a young person. And at the age of 12, my mother got divorced for a second time, which meant the glorious, amazing stage mother that I had was no longer in existence.
Mm.
And then my amazing dance teacher shut down her studio to go pursue dance even further. And she was already a huge success in my eyes, she was. And so I had no dance, no parents, um, which left me alone.
Mm.
The only thing that saved me is my dance teacher had two amazing friends, actually, many amazing friends, by the name of Belinda Sobey, Pam Rosa,
Hmm.
Danielle Clifford. And at this time, Pam and Danielle opened up a brand new studio called Harbor Dance Center. And
Ding
I
ding
was
ding.
12, ding, ding, ding. And I was 12 years old taking the bus down to Hastings Street.
No.
And yeah, at 12, because again, my mother was working full time, going to school at night. So my dad lived in Calgary, so that's a whole other
Right,
podcast.
right.
Um, but anyways, I would take the bus downtown and I couldn't afford class, so I made hair scrunchies and they let me sell them in the store so that I could pay for class. And I don't even think it paid for class, but they let me take class.
You
So here
entrepreneurial,
I know.
motivated kid. Oh my God.
Well, when you're left to your own devices, and let's be clear, back then, I would watch dance on TV, whether music videos were just coming out because MTV was new. So I watched music videos, the Academy Award shows.
We had a little glitch on the technology side of things, but we came back feistier as ever. Here it is.
Are we back? Oh, technology for the win again.
So, Mo, I've never experienced any glitches in all of my recordings, and the one
What
episode
happened to me?
that we spoke about technology, it happened to.
Oh, of course. Of course. So where did we leave off? What's the
So
last thing you
you were
heard?
saying that MTV, like the music was just coming on
Oh,
TV, you were
okay.
just watching dance. Yeah, yeah.
So if MTV was on TV shows, I would watch dance. But by grade 9, I would say, I had really great friends in school that were academic, and none of them were dancing. I didn't have any support to encourage me. I stopped dancing. Grade 9, it was game
Mm.
over. And that's why when you say, "What were you doing at 14?" Nothing. I mean, I was dancing at home. I always played music. I was always dancing at home because it's your identity. When you've been doing it that long, it becomes who you are. That's nothing new to this conversation. I'm sure you've had this conversation with others. It's your identity. It's who
Yeah.
you are. So it wasn't until, no joke, like 10 years later that I came back to dance totally by accident.
That is absolutely like again unique to you, but it is a part of the journey and the whole sort of makeup of your experience in this in on this planet in this world.
Absolutely.
You have,
Absolutely.
so you were saying though that you went, so what then took you out from your entrepreneurial selling scrunchie Mo dancer at
Oh, it kept
Harbor?
going. Oh, it kept
Okay.
going. I was
Okay.
selling in the hallways of high school.
Oh, I'm obsessed. Can I dig a
Yeah.
little there? Can I ask?
Sure.
Yeah. What was that about? Was that literally purely because you were hustling trying to make money, or was it like, oh my gosh, wait a minute. I
Had a single mom, no child support from my dad. I had no cash flow. And I know this sounds awful, but a lot of my friends that I was at school with were quite wealthy. So when you have nothing and they're like, "Oh, we're going to go, to the store, get some Slurpees, or, we're going to go get ice cream." I had no cash. So
mm,
I had to literally survive. How am I going to make cash? Well, I know how to sew. Material is cheap. I'm too young to get a job. Ironic though, little tidbit, which is funny. My very first job in grade 8, I was assisting a teacher at Arts Umbrella the year they opened teaching tap. So I made
What?
25, yeah, I know. They had tap. It was the very first year and I made $25 a week.
Oh,
So I
my,
know. And that's a lot of money when you're in grade 8 and you just want money for Slurpees.
it started off as Slurpees, but then I don't know where that ended up with 25 bucks. Um, that is so, I honestly, to be honest, I didn't know that because I didn't take a, pre-professional post-high school program at Harbor. I came and did drop-ins and trained, but I didn't take a program, and I feel like that was something that was missing from me getting to know
Oh,
you, and that's why I was so excited to have you on because I'm almost like just fresh, clean slate in terms of who you were pre me knowing you, which was like 5, 6 years ago. Um,
and we met in a drop-in. I believe you took my class, and I'm like,
yes,
"Who is this lovely person, this beautiful dancer?" And that's, I believe, how we connect, which is how it kinda happens
it
nowadays.
really is. It really
Yeah.
is. Just the human thing about dance is shaking hands or making eye
Yep.
contact and saying hello.
Yep.
Um, so then what you said it was out of the blue that you came back to it. So tell me more about that.
So, like a lot of young people, I mean, if you could have told me in high school, and again, you're right, there's a lot of people that don't do training programs, but at that time, there was no training programs.
Mm,
If you wanted to dance, you literally just took class, at drop-in facilities, and Harbor was around then, to train for the next audition. But there was nothing on my radar, and there was nobody to tell me that you could have a career in dance. So I thought, well, I guess if I'm going to be a successful person, I
mm,
better go to university. And the only thing I knew was dance. So a friend of mine told me about kinesiology, and I'm pretty good in science and math and things. So I thought, oh, okay, I'll go into kinesiology. Um, the thing that made it difficult, and this is why dance wasn't on my radar, I moved out of my mother's house in grade 12, which means I had to be financially sustainable by myself and
yeah,
paying for
independent.
you. Yeah, and it was really hard, but I learned a lot about how I could survive. I knew that, waitering, bartending paid more than working at a shoe store or a coffee
Hmm.
shop. And I would just have many of those jobs. I worked in 3 different restaurants. One was a bar, a couple restaurants, and it made enough that I could pay for university, pay for, going to the dentist. Because when you're 19 and you have to pay for the dentist, it has a whole other meaning.
Well, that's
And
last on the list. Yeah, yeah.
exactly, but it was one of those things, again, I think I learned how to hustle and how to support myself early on. So here I am, I'm graduating university, but in my final year, you had to get a practicum. And I did a double major of exercise science, which is the kinesiology. But again, I also like the sports marketing. So I got a job
Oh.
with a sports team. And I will make this long story really short. They needed dancers and they heard that I danced. So they're like, Mo, you're on salary. You're now getting some dance team like the Laker girls. And I was like, guys, I haven't really danced in a long time. They're like, you'll figure it out. Just get some hot girls and dance. So honestly, no internet then, no internet. And this is my brain. Picture the quote: I wonder if Harbor Dance is still around.
No.
I put on my flash dance sweatshirt, my leg warmers, my parachute shorts. I go down and I went to go take Belinda's class, and because I called to find out what time it was. And I walk in and they know me as Maura as well as Mo, but Maura
Yeah.
is my real name. And Belinda's like, and Pam and Danielle, where have you been? We were
Seriously.
wondering what happened to you. And, I took a class, and I'll rush to the punchline just to say, I've never felt more myself in that class than
Oh.
wearing my suit, my nylons, my pumps, called them pumps then, heels to an office. I felt more myself in that classroom.
Oh,
And I
wow.
was, when we talk about, dance is your identity, oh, it was so buried down deep.
Mm.
I bawled in that class. I
No way.
bawled. I bawled. I just started crying, but it was crying because of a realization, how did I leave this? How did
Mm.
I think I could leave it? And I
Did you ever
know
wonder, like, were you ever between,
every day, every day.
yeah,
I mean, maybe that's an exaggeration,
yeah,
but I would see dance on TV and it literally was the line from Chorus Line. I can do that. I can do
right.
that. And then in high school, this is hilarious. All of the Janet, the Paula Abdul, um, all these hip hop artists come out, and I remember watching Vanilla Ice and watching, all those moves, even Bobby
Yeah.
Brown going, "Oh my god, I know how to do all of this because I would do it at home." So imagine like someone who's like, cooking these amazing dishes, not knowing that they really should be a chef, but you're just cooking to eat.
Right, like, it's sitting there idle. And
Yeah.
you imagine if you did. I wonder what. Oh, no, I
Okay.
don't. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So you just said, I wonder what would have happened if
yeah,
I didn't stop dancing. That's
yeah,
what ITP is. That's what
yeah,
ITP is. ITP, if I fast forward to what the program really is, you've been dancing your whole life at a studio, but you're either your mother drove you, she paid for your classes, or you paid yourself.
yeah.
But you knew that you registered every year, you did these conventions, you did a solo, and it was an automatic machine. What happens when that machine is over and you have to get yourself to class? I
Mm,
don't know if I think you went to university as well, didn't
yeah,
you?
yeah.
You don't have to show up.
No,
Nobody's making you go.
no.
And I've said with ITP, give me 10 months and you will know if you like dance, meaning, I think I just like it. I don't think I want this hustle. I don't think I want to really work this lifestyle.
Yeah,
Or is it the opposite? Oh my God, I
yeah.
cannot imagine doing anything else. This is totally me. I'm not ready to let this go. I need
Or
to
is
give it
it
a
the
chance.
fishnet leg warmer, neon bodysuit, and pumps moment?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. So the
yeah.
program fused into this, give me 10 months and you will figure this out if this is the path you want to go. Because the last thing I really, really want, I don't want somebody to have the what ifs like I did. I don't
Mm.
want somebody to continue on with the regret of what would have happened if I did not stop dancing.
Yeah, that makes you wonder, and I know that
Yeah.
listeners will really, that'll hit home for a lot. So I appreciate you opening up about that. I had no
Oh, of
idea,
course.
and I know that there is like a lot that do know so much about you, but there is also so many people that have listened to this podcast have reached out to say that they're not in the industry, but they find components that they can relate to and bring back to their industry, whatever
Oh,
it may be. So
absolute, and I'm glad
yeah,
people reach out to you. Again, this is where technology is for the win. They're
yeah,
reaching out to you because something you said or your interviewee
yeah.
said that connects, and it connects on so many levels.
It
Dance
does.
is just what we do.
Yeah. And it's a human experience, so no matter what, you're still a human, and there is so many things that you do on your journey that other people not in your same, path or whatever it is can in parallel relate to. So I appreciate that little journey and opening up about that. I truly had no idea. But I do want to get into how the heck it went being a kinesiologist on a sports team and hiring dancers. Like, the what?
Okay, so when they hired me, it was for sports marketing, not a kinesiologist, but as sports marketing. And I was super young, so they pay you peanuts and you're just doing anything you can for PR. But the funniest thing, and I hope these names sound familiar to your listeners, I had to hold an audition, and in came new friends and old friends. Old friends was Joanne Pasusic, who was at Harbor with me when it opened when we were 12 and 13. So she showed up. Lisa Stevens showed up, who I danced with in the same studio growing up. But then came new people like Faye Rao and Kim Sato. So
Jeez.
I got sucked into this vortex of, oh, it's still dance is still a thing. Like people are doing this.
Right.
And
So,
it,
okay, wait.
yeah.
Did you, at the time of you getting told that you had to host an audition, or at least you decided that you had to in order to do whatever they asked you to do, did you go, "Oh, I'm sweating my balls because this is brand new, back, like not brand new, but I am introducing myself back into this world." Were you nervous when you had to
Oh
step into
my
that
God.
role?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, totally. But going back to the story, I went, oh my God, I have to go back to Harbor. And what happened was, and this always makes me cry, but I'm going to hold it together. So I'm
Or
in
don't.
Belinda's class, and her warm up is so freaking hard.
Yeah.
If anybody knows her warm up, it's the same. It's so hard. My développés were shaking at 45 degrees, and everything was hard, and the technique got harder. What do you mean? What's a switch split? Why do we land on one knee? What is
Yeah.
that about? What is these switch Russians? That wasn't around. But when we got to the combo and it was a pure sexy Latin full out jazz Belinda combo, I was like, "Oh, I got this."
Yeah.
I remember she stopped the music in between groups, and back then there was no video, so there was just groups 1, 2, and 3. And she came over to me and she goes, "Mo, I don't know where you've been, but you still got it." I bawled. I bawled.
Oh.
So the nerves that you're asking, did I have nerves? Of course I did. I was jumping into literally doing the hugest pivot of my career. But knowing she said that and knowing when it came to the combo, I had that confidence of, I know how to dance full out. I know how to hit clean lines. I have groove. I'm going to be fine. And so when it came time to hold the audition, of course I was nervous, but then I had that little bit of confidence of going, no, you can do this. You can dance these steps.
Yeah. Yeah. It is a matter of, I think, either making it or breaking it based on, can you dig deep and find a little bit of ounce of confidence in you. You don't have to have a whole ton. You don't have to have a whole ton,
Hmm.
but you have to dig a little deep when you're in those moments, at least from my experience, and just go,
Absolute,
whatever
absolutely.
whatever comment helps you get yourself in the door, whatever comment or whatever, experience you had in the past that gave you that boost of confidence, pull it into those rooms with you and let it be sort of that catalyst to give you that
Well
boost.
said. That's
Yeah.
really well said, Briggs. Yeah.
Um, so okay. Okay,
I
audition's
know.
over. Audition is over. Well, I don't want to jump straight over that, but I want to know, like, I literally am so curious now. How did you, at the time, were roles booked if you only had an agent, or is that such a new thing that's
Ah,
like,
existent.
yeah,
Back then, so it's funny being in this journey since then. So we're talking like late 90s, right?
yeah,
The dance roles were few and far between. If you booked one job a year that you were on set for maybe 2 days, you were like, "Oh my god, so and so got that movie." There
mm,
wasn't the film and TV industry that it is now. So what did that mean? It meant we were all teaching dance in, dance schools. But what really propelled me after that year was over in on the dance team, the Grizzlies came to Vancouver. Jocelyn Peden was the choreographer. She was freshly back from a very successful career in LA. And I thought, okay, this is like a cool dance job. I'm going to go audition. And again, everybody was doing these huge switch jumps and like people did more than a double pirouette. And I'm like, WTF? What? I was like a
and they
really
stuck
great,
it.
and they stuck it. I was like, I can do two into an axle and that's it. Um, but I went to the audition, there were hundreds of people. And again, exactly like you said, you have to dig deep to have that little conversation with yourself. I booked Grizzlies, and it was a great job to have that you had rehearsals twice a week, you had games, you had appearance. Jocelyn Peden was an amazing role model example of how to be a choreographer, how to lead a team of people, a mini dance company, if you will.
Hmm.
And hip hop was just emerging. So we were all in class. You were either in class teaching dance or dancing for Grizzlies. And honestly, I was so happy. It
Mm,
was such a place of like, I don't have to wear the suit, the nylon, and the pumps. I also managed to give up my restaurant jobs because teaching dance paid well, which led into choreographing for other dance studios, when you would jump around, which led into adjudicating.
Right.
And it literally took off from there. I was
Yeah.
very lucky that I did work in film and television, but I mean like one job every 2 years back then. Like it wasn't big. It was really quite minimal. So
You
that
said
came way
that
later.
you said that you were happy, and I want to know if at the time you knew that.
Yes. I
Yeah.
think I think because there's something to be said when you have a plan A. Let's just say plan A would have been my childhood dream to be a dancer. And you knew you had to have plan B because plan A did not have a clear pathway. Anybody in the arts, it doesn't matter, sculptor, painter, opera singer, it doesn't matter what, there is no clear pathway or like a flow chart with arrows that
Mm,
say if you do A, B, and C, you will be happy when you get to the end. There is no pathway.
mhm.
But I felt like when I was dancing and I'm like, "They're paying me to be in sweatpants with
Mhm.
no makeup, play
Not
the
the
music
sweats.
I want." Oh, yeah, sweatpants was a huge thing that I was like, "I get to wear what I want, dance to the music I want, create what I want. How could you not be happy?"
Yeah, like,
And
please don't pull the rug
yeah.
from under, like, pinch me. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's always struggles, whereas, financially, was this gonna be, how I was gonna live to retirement? Um, Creativity wise, is it gonna last forever? Am I good enough? I feel like with any artist of any medium, you always question yourself. That self-doubt, that little voice, it never goes away. It's something that mental skills has become very popular in our industry because of that.
Yeah.
But I feel like I was happy because I wasn't working in an office. I wasn't a 9 to 5 girl, looking
Mhm.
at the clock and
Mhm.
wondering, when do I get lunch kind of a thing. How could I not be appreciative of this life that led me to flying to different cities to choreograph, getting to teach people who came in bright and bushy-tailed, excited to dance with me, going back and getting a class at Harbor where it all started. Oh my goodness, how could I not have been in a good headspace, if you
Yeah.
will?
I think
Yeah,
the reason that I ask is because I've noticed even in just just with the work that I've recently done, and I'm such an observer, like, on sets, or I'm just whatever job I'm on, and I do wonder if you get complacent, if you start to just think, this is going to come, like, the next role is going to come once you start
yeah.
booking those TV roles, and I wonder if you can offer. I don't know if it's like, how do you find more spark, or I don't
I
know.
think you have to, honestly, I think you have to love the process because, first of all, I really hate that hashtag booked and blessed.
Mhm.
Getting booked for something is the result of all of that hard work.
Oof,
But
yeah.
if you don't enjoy that hard work, getting on set for 1 or 2 days, and let's face it, sometimes being on set is not what it's cracked up to be.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's a
Yeah.
completely different thing. But if you don't like the process of, taking care of your body, maybe working with what's it called? Somebody to help you, I don't want to say stay on track, but like keep your eyes on the prize.
Mm.
I don't think there's something as such as like a big break. I think it's accumulation of all these experiences that
Yeah.
you should be enjoying, that along the way you're like, no, this is what I want. Because let's face it, our industry is rejection, and you have to be able to accept rejection. Even when I'm up for a choreography job for film and TV and I don't get it, I'm
Yeah.
like, great, something else will come along, or something else won't come along, but I'm happy where I am now.
Well,
And
I think that is
yeah,
so true. And I think that people don't often realize, or they do, and I'm being naive, but it is such a subjective, like, that is what art is. So it's subjective. So you're
yeah,
signing up, you are volunteering yourself to be casted, like, judgment on, and you can take it personally if you'd like, but it is purely subjective. It is, we needed this. you don't fit that or whatever it is. And
Yeah.
growing up, it was always so personal. It was everything was just personal. And I think that's natural, obviously, as you start to develop. But I think as you start to build your career, the faster you can realize that you have jobs that will be coming for you, or jobs in quotations, because whatever project, whatever you want to call them, but there's ones out there for you, and maybe you
Mhm.
need to create them. I think that we can so often
Yeah.
forget that you can be the one that creates those experiences. But if you always think that you should be booking every single one, well, you're setting yourself up for that mental failure 100%. And it's going to you will burn out because you're
Yep.
going to always have your expectations set so high. So, and
Yep.
that was something that, and I want to just talk to myself because or for myself, because that was such a realization in the last 5 years. Like, oh, wow.
Mm.
Oh, wow. Like, if I am constantly thinking that I'm going to fit every single mold, well, sweet girl, you're gonna have to pull yourself out because you will slowly start to
Yeah.
bury yourself.
What
And I,
clicked for you? What was it for you that made you go, "Hey, it's just I'm not right for this role and that's okay." What did it take to get to that?
I honestly, I'm a not like I'm a facts person, or science or math or whatever it is. So for me to volunteer, like, it was a circ audition, and you had to submit to get accepted to just go to Vegas and audition. And so the submission was, I think, like, they had around like 2,500
Oh
ish.
my
And
god.
then so then you get you get little butterflies because you got the approval or the whatever, you've successfully made it to the next round. And so then you fly in and you're like, okay, like, this is sweet. I'm on the MJ stage. Here we go. But you look around the room and they've accepted over 500. And so statistically, you shouldn't
Mm.
book that job. Like, that, it's just because
The math.
they were only, the math is there. So for me, that was what clicked. Was it was like, Briggs, you're a stat. Like, as much as I know my talents, I know my worth, and I know, like, and I think that takes a lot of beating down to figure out that. But if you
Mm.
make it through enough years in this industry, you start to realize, like, you've booked some things, or you've been told some things that make you, like you said, give you that ounce of confidence that you need later down the road. And
Yes.
so those little tiny things, those tokens, like, you got to keep them with you to remind yourself you have a talent, you have a unique skill set. But for this current job, statistically, like, that'd be sweet if I get it, but they're only looking for two dancers. The first round was 2,500 submissions, second round was 500, and they're booking two people. So,
Oh
honey,
my god.
if you think that you're going to book that role, like, I want you to have confidence to think you can, but do not beat yourself down when you
Yeah.
don't get it.
Yeah. It's great that I thought you said you're a math person. I'm like, "We're gonna be friends."
Yeah.
I feel like that is the most realistic, healthy attitude, if you will, to go into an audition. I also feel like, and I've learned this just over the past, I'd say the past 14 years, my film and TV career has been busier than ever, and I've learned more in these past years. Sometimes the director, producer, writer, executive producer has an image in their head of what they're looking for. And you could be the best dancer in the room, but if you're not the character that they have in their head, they're waiting until they see that person. And I feel like there's too many dancers who put so much of their, literally put all their eggs into one basket thinking, oh my God, I'm perfect for this. And that's where
Hmm.
I say, but you have no idea what they have in their heads. And
Yeah.
they're the ones that are sitting there saying hired or no hired. And I know that a lot of people, they beat themselves up, "But I was a great dancer." No, you are a great dancer, you
Mm,
just don't fit this job, and it sometimes has nothing to do with your dance. You're too tall, you're too short, your ears are too far apart. It could be something so silly
yeah.
that it's as when you get to that realization that you are not meant for every single part, and the ones that you are fitted for, you will thrive.
Hmm.
That's where I feel like you can sit down and have a little
Yes.
contentment to say, "Okay, I am doing okay."
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
it's so true. And I hope people do end up getting to come to that realization, because it's a pivotal moment in one's
Yeah.
artistic career. Um,
Yeah, there's also something to be said when we talked about, sometimes what you look like. Um, my agent, Melissa Panton, has quoted this so many times, and she is so right. I know this for me. I've never been the hot girl next door. I'm never the girlfriend. I am the woman from the IKEA commercial that says, start the car. I am the quirky sidekick goofball. And as soon as I realized that was my brand, I would try to narrow my opportunities so that I would fit the brand as opposed to don't show up for the hot girl. That's not you. Why are you going to put yourself in that position? And I
oh,
think just
yes.
knowing who you are, like if you're like, oh my God, I'm so great, I'm going to dance for Beyonce. But do you fit the type of person dancer she's looking for? For me, given. That's a no. I should be on like the Seinfeld promotional tour,
Yes.
doing something silly. And I feel like if you understand who you are realistically, you have a better chance of success of making sure your brand
Yes.
matches the job you're going for.
100%. And to go back to just the mention of burnout, if you don't know who you are and you are just throwing these things at the wall,
Yeah.
hoping that they'll stick, well, your batteries are going to burn out and they're going to die real quick because you're
Yeah.
just blindly tossing yourself out there without making an educational, target or guess into what you would fit into. And you have to sort of start off with a big generalization, but then as you start to build some traction, narrow it down. Um,
Yeah. Well said. That's well said. Because burnout is real, but people don't recognize it.
no, they don't.
Yeah.
Okay, so speaking of burnout, not burnout, but like you were you were kind of, I guess, coming over what age was that you literally went, "Oh my god, I found my career," or
I
"Oh
was
my, I
like,
found myself."
I think, let me do the math. 97, I would have been 25. Yeah. So I was 25, 24, 25, brand new into dance again. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. This is good. I don't have to do the office thing anymore. And I hustled like how everybody is hustling now, minus self-tapes and technology and social media. We did the same, but again, there was no training group. So you just took as many classes as you could, and either word of mouth, you heard of auditions or you heard of somebody needing dancers for something. And I kind of tugged along that for a long time, but there was also, and this is where I think my path might be a little different than others. Um, that little scrunchy seller from high school, from grade 8, I always had that hustle of being an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
And I always said to Pam and Danielle, I love it here. This is great. I
Mhm.
took commerce, I took accounting and all that in university and sports marketing. If you ever wanted to bring in a partner or just a thought, I'm just putting my little 2 cents in now. I honestly think I was 25, 26 when I told them, and that was one of my first or second years back from dance. I was teaching more classes at Harbor. I was around a lot. And I guess that stuck with them because then when Danielle retired, they're like, oh, well, of course, it's Mo. And I
Right.
very grateful that not only did I have that segue, but film and TV for me was also picking up at the same age.
Mm.
Um, yeah, so it was a combination of other things that I was striving for. But to be honest, when I was teaching dance like everybody is now, or adjudicating guest choreography, trying to get a film and TV job, it's no different now how it was for me all those years ago. It really isn't that different.
That is really neat to hear because I know that you briefly said it, but not a lot. I think that as a dancer, as an artist, you do have like some sort of hustle entrepreneurial side to you because you have to make your way
You have
somehow.
to.
Um,
Yeah.
but I myself have it like I always say it's my dad poisoned my cup because he was like a serial entrepreneur, but and I use that word so harshly, bless him. But it's true, like I have such a passion for entrepreneurial
Your
feats, and I
clothing
think
company,
yeah.
that shows that you're not. You now have this podcast. You clearly are the example of somebody who not just hustles, but you're looking to diversify your
Yeah.
skills and they transfer. They do transfer.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I
good
think
for
that it
you.
is. Well, thank you, Mo. I honestly, I respect it. Like, I respected you for as long as I've known you for, and I know that you've
Oh,
had that
wow.
side to you. So, I would love to, if I may, just ask about a few of your career. Maybe I always like highlights because I know listeners when I've put out polls and all of the stuff they want to hear like horror stories on set or
Oh,
like highlight jobs that yeah, just anything of those sprinkles that you could give. I know that they'll be well received.
you want me to specify? Sorry, do you want me to be specific to film and TV, the highs and lows?
Yeah, I think that that's yeah.
Okay. Oh, okay. I have two horror stories from being on set. One, there was a movie called John Tucker Must Die, and it was Ashanti, who was a R&B, I guess, pop star back in the 2000s
Yeah.
ish. And she was one of the girlfriends of John Tucker Must Die. And we had a huge, like a cheerleader dance team scene, and I knew with somebody like her, I'm going to teach her privately as opposed to with everybody else in rehearsal, just so she has more confidence. She has more time to learn it. I knew how to handle somebody of a celebrity and that treat them a little bit, with oven mitts on.
Yeah.
She was so horrible. She's like, "I don't wanna do that step." And I'm like, "Okay, how about this step?" No, what else? Do I have to do this with the other girls? Can't I just do my own thing?"
Oh.
It was, and don't forget back then, they didn't really give you rehearsal days. You had to learn it the morning or the day of
Of
because it was a little piece, or the day before. You didn't have rehearsals. It was so different. God bless the union committee of dancers now that are changing our industry, but she was so not willing and horrible. I mean, I look at the video of or I should say, I look at the movie now and I'm like, how did we get there? Like, that was just amazing. The other was actually more recently, I was doing an international Toyota commercial and they wanted me to copy a very famous Kenzo ad. And I was very familiar with the ad. I even worked with the dancer that was on it.
oh,
And
cool.
it was Margaret Qualley, and she was a professional dancer. She also played Anne Ryan King in Fosse Verdon. So this woman could dance, but they
Wow.
did not cast a dancer for the
Oh,
Toyota
no,
commercial.
no, no,
They
no.
hired an actress, and I had rehearsal with her. This was good. So I had rehearsal, but I literally am watching this woman going, "Oh my goodness, I'm just gonna do the best I can." They knew, I'm gonna do
With
the
the
best
tools
I
I've been
can
given.
with the tools I've been given. And this is, technology. I can do a previs, I send it in. They were horrified. They were horrified with the video. And the next
They
day
said,
on
"Can we book
set,
you?"
well, they were just like, they're like, "This is terrible. We shoot tomorrow. We can't recast." So we get to set, and it was at the Orpheum. I remember this so well. And I'm like, just make her look good, work with the camera guy,
Right.
get different angles. And the whole day, I have a knot in my stomach, and uh, I'm just watching this. And I can say to all your listeners who are dancers, when you watch someone that doesn't dance, but they're trying to dance, and you're a
Mm.
little cringy. I
Mm.
did the best I could. I did the best I could, giving her more pedestrian movements. The president of Toyota Europe came up to me at the end and, "Mo, you're so fabulous. I love this. I don't know how you changed from yesterday. It was terrible. It was horrible." So those were my 2 days on set that you're literally a magician.
You are.
How are you gonna pull a rabbit from a hat?
Yeah.
So those were the worst. Um, as far as best, honestly, I have so many great stories of just being with amazing people on set. Um, One of the best ones was for those that have worked in film and TV, there's a lot of moving parts, whether it's the script supervisor who is making sure that all of your shots have consistency. Do they step on the right foot? Do they use this hand? Are they moving in the same direction? Very similar to the sound guys, the different camera angles. When I was doing Sonic 2, and I had an amazing cast of 7 dancers. This is the non-animated part, this is the live action, and every single person was at my call, meaning the script supervisor is like, "Hey, Mo, what did you call that? Can I use that? Can I write that down?"
Mm,
And the film guy is like, "Hey, Mo, can you teach me some steps to move with the dancers?" The sound guy was like, "Mo, did you want me to give you a 4 count beat lead in so you can get to it quicker?" And the
stop it.
director, the DP were just all willing to work with what I created for this dance number. It was truly satisfying as a creator to have a team of
Yeah.
people that believed in your vision. That was a huge high for me.
That is a well-oiled machine. It sounds like that
Yes.
that everyone has that clear vision, or at least trust in the person that is the one with the vision.
Yeah,
That's a
and
game changer.
and as dancers too, like, we have stupid names for things, like, I think I remember this
Right.
one's called, Israeli Wedding, this one's called Monkey Circles, this one's called Square Dance, and the script supervisor literally took my book of notes, photocopied it to put it in the script supervising notes so that it was consistent, and I was like, "Okay, what I'm doing, these stupid little things, the start your car mattered. It mattered, it made sense, it worked, and it was successful." That was a huge career high for me, I
Oh,
think.
that is really cool. And it brings
Yeah.
it must make you also think about some of the faces that were on set that day or that you worked with. And I think this is so
Oh,
special in this industry, the
yeah.
people you get to meet. Like not even just dancers, but the technicians, the costumes. And it is such a
Yes.
sometimes your job is just to be there for 8 hours, 4 hours, whatever it is. And the little tiny relationships that you build are so special and unique. I think it
They're
is.
important.
Yeah.
They are important. How you treat the caterer, how you treat costumes, and during COVID, how you treated the safety people. When I find those relationships, I think of me as the hustler at a young age of not only we all want to be liked and accepted, but we also want to do a good job. And it doesn't take much to tell the caterer that, oh, these snacks, I love today's selection, you're
Mhm.
killing it. And I actually did that on the last job. I was on The Last of Us a couple weeks ago,
Mhm.
and they had something on set that is never on set, and I raved about it. He's like, "How do you know about this?" I'm like, "Well, whatever." But you make somebody's day in the
Yeah.
smallest way, and also, our world is really, really small.
Yeah.
I am on the same job now with people that I was on a job 10 years ago with. I did X-Files. Oh my god, X-Files was, yeah, 10 years ago. The movie that I'm on now, some of the same people. So you never know how those relationships are really going to mean to somebody. But when you get the call from one of those people that they want you back, it obviously mattered. So how you treat everybody, it matters.
It does. And that is like that can be a given for any industry, not just like we're
Oh,
human beings. I'm thinking as you're reflecting back on all that, like starting last shot, like starting this company, at the start, I was very hmm passive and not treating relationships with quality, just as a transaction. Basically,
right.
just because I thought business to business, here's a transaction, I pay you, you give me product, service, whatever it is. Not thinking that down the road, they are now going to be on accounts payable.
Yeah.
They are now going to
Yeah.
be a supplier of something or whatever it is. And so that's a business way of thinking about it. But then there's also So we had a practicum student come and work for us the last
Good for
semester, and
you.
well,
Good
so
for
it
you.
was wonderful because you realize that your relationship that you've just built with that student, you could have easily thought of it as just a chapter in your business, in their education, like a 3 month relationship, and then it's over. But instead, you nurture that relationship, and you have no idea in the future what's going to come from it. And what's coming from it now is a whole new career for this individual. So you just don't know the possibilities, so just be kind. Just go the extra, and it's not an extra mile,
Yep.
because like you said, talk to
Yep.
the caterer and say, "Hey, you had a unique selection today. I appreciate that." Boom, that just made his day. You have no idea the little tiny tidbits that you can share with somebody that offers some sort of joy in their life, the game changer that that makes.
It's no different to if you were ever in a dance class, an audition, a convention, and a teacher said something nice to you, you remember that your entire life.
Oh, it's
So
true.
think of the next time you get in your Uber, think of the next time when you're
Yes.
at Subway and they have been there at 6 a.m. baking bread.
Yeah.
You're just there getting your lunch, but you have no idea that they have put in the time because they have to pay rent, they have to support a family. A little kindness goes a very long way.
Oh, it sure does. And I think that's
Yeah.
why so many people continue to trust you, Mo, and show up for you when you need them and be at your beck and call, because you have a support system like no other. It is truly remarkable to see the base that carries you up when you need them, and also vice versa. You are such a good supporter for other people as well, trying to build their career. So I appreciate you being such a just sticking your neck out for people that you believe in. It goes a long way, and I appreciate it.
Oh, you're
Um,
very kind.
no,
Very
it's
kind.
true. It's true. So too, because I'm very aware of time and busy schedules, I want to always. I love to just kind of step away from careers and titles and all that. And
Okay.
I'm curious. I have some fire round questions. I always say they're fire round,
Oh,
but then yeah, I know. They're no, they're not juicy. But okay, so first one is my personal favorite, just because I'm a foodie. What would be your death row meal?
oh my God. Okay. Everybody knows this about me. I'm obsessed with cheap white birthday cake. Like, I'm not talking a nice bakery. I'm talking Costco, Safeway, IGA. If 7-Eleven carried it, I'd buy it there for sure. And lately, well, everyone also knows I live at McDonald's. I have a gift card in every single purse and wallet, including my car, sorry. But lately, I'm obsessed with nachos.
Oh,
There's something about the crisp,
mm.
and then when you have like a chicken, a beef, a tomato, an onion, and cheese on it, but then you dip it in something wet. It's just the textures just light me up. Light me up. Death row meal.
I will.
Cake,
Yeah,
McDonald's, fries, maybe some chicken McNuggets, and then nachos. There
with a
it is.
second order nachos. I love it. I love it. If you could be anything other than obviously what you currently are operating as in a career sense, what would you do?
Oh, easy. Closet organizer. I want to
What?
organize people's closets. I not only want to streamline your clothing of what you wear and don't wear, I want to redo your kitchen cabinets, your kitchen drawers. I will even go as far to say I love organizing tax receipts and putting them in spreadsheets. It's it can be summed up in an umbrella. I love to organize and I hate clutter. So closet
Mm.
organization is number 1. And I think I've done it to a few friends where I literally go to their house and I'm just like, sit on the bed. You're going to tell me what's going and what's staying, but most of it's going.
Sit
So
on the
yeah,
bed. It's
that would be
therapy time.
oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah,
So Mo,
lights
the
me up.
the closeted organizer. Where the if anywhere else but Vancouver, where would you live?
Oh, that's hard. I have to say, I did go to Palm Springs for the first time last year, and I love the sleepy vibe. I
Okay.
love the rancher type of housing there. I like the sleepy vibe. You don't do much. I think if I never even thought of that question, but I think that would be my answer.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah,
If you
yeah.
could teleport into any era, which one would it be?
Oh, I think I wanna go back to 50s where, like, a guy would have to ask you out on a date.
Oh,
and
yeah.
he picked you up and then you wore poodle skirts to school.
Not the
You
poodle
did,
skirt.
like, I feel like there's an era where manners were there, you dressed up.
Mm,
I remember the first time I went to Vegas, I had this image in my head, kind of like Rat Pack. We're going to dress up for dinner, we're going to
yeah.
glam up. Meanwhile, there's a guy beside me in a tank top and flip flops that weren't even on his feet at the table. And I'm like, okay, times have changed. So,
Right. No, noted. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I also have to say, as much as I love technology, I love the accessibility of information, I love capturing memories. I am so glad I grew up without it.
Hmm.
There's too much anxiety around the phone. There's too much risk of being embarrassed, being
Right.
canceled. I'm glad that I was raised in a time where the phone wasn't around. So if you go back even years earlier where it was, you know, you had to ask permission to stay out past 10 o'clock at night, or there's a different type of mannerism. So yeah,
Yeah.
50s would be me.
Lake or ocean?
Oh, ocean.
Ocean. Pacific, obviously, or no?
Think I love, like, when I go to Mexico or Bahamas or whatever, there's something about that turquoise water
Yeah.
that triggers your brain to literally take a deep sigh and relax. So anywhere where there's turquoise water, sign me up.
Yeah. Okay, I'll sign up right underneath you.
Yeah.
The last one that I have, and my last guest couldn't actually answer it, just it was too on the spot. So don't feel pressure if you can't, but if you could have sort of one punchline on your gravestone, what would it be?
Oh, oh, it's so easy. Uh, if you can't laugh at yourself, you leave the job to others.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because I have to laugh at myself. Something we didn't talk about, we don't have to go into it deep. I have Crohn's disease, and I've had
Mm,
it since I was 19 years old, and it can make for some embarrassing situations. And everybody knows in my, not even my close circle, I tell ITP on the first day, I will probably shit my pants someday this week. Just be
yeah,
aware. And if you see me leaving your conversation running, do not take it personally. I'm running to the toilet.
yeah.
So I have to have that sense of humor about myself, because then otherwise it does become embarrassment. And I think I've learned that I have to make it funny. I have to be public about it because I don't want to live in shame. So the idea of laughing at myself, I have to. I have to.
And I think everyone should. I think everyone should laugh at themselves because it breaks that barrier, that tension, that whatever is in the room that's causing you an icky, uncomfortable feeling. Crack a joke and see what happens. Laugh at
Oh,
yourself, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we also, if this is too much, you've been to all these weddings in your life of your friends and family. You do not remember the flowers. You do not remember what the color theme was. You don't remember there was chair covers. You don't even remember what you wore or what the bride wore, but you remember if an uncle said something funny. You remember if there was a funny speech. You were there for hours. Maybe it was a destination wedding and you were there for a week. You remember funny. And
You
I
do.
feel like in my life, I can remember all the funny moments with your friends. I mean, that's why you reminisce, right?
Yeah.
When you get together with good friends, new friends, old friends, you're always talking about funny times. I don't know why we don't make things lighter. Like you said, crack a joke. Why are we taking this so seriously? We are dancing to music, frolicking around.
And the
Why are
last
we
mo-
taking all this so
the
seriously?
last time I was on the last time this is, I'm gonna finish it soon, I promise. But the last time I was on set, I looked at, it was such a high tension environment. And I know because tape's rolling, money's rolling, right? Like I understand that, but it was a matter of just it was just the way that the angle of the camera was set and the way that the steps were being like just I guess filmed.
Modified?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It just wasn't working well. But I'm talking as if we were going into open heart surgery. That was the tension that was in the room. And I looked over to one of the other dancers and I just went, this this is happening. And she was like, pardon, like, because you can't, like, no noise, right? And I'm going, no, like, this is seriously going on right now. This is how serious this moment is. And it just, like, whether it was serious or not, like, it was serious, but it breaks that tension and it goes, and exhale, we're still human, life
Yeah.
goes on, let's take again.
You know what, though? It's great that you did that because let's just be clear. These are first world problems we're having.
Yeah.
And in the big picture of things, like, oh, I want a new iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
Really? Like, you need to have more of a sense of humor of things. And if anybody takes my class, they'll know I do not take it very seriously. Like, sure, I will teach you a little combo, we will work on it. But if you're not having fun with it, even if it's not a upbeat piece, it's a more somber contemporary piece, you have to look at the big picture of this. And honestly, I think that's where my sense of humor comes from, is that, we're not curing cancer, but we're at
Yeah.
least enjoying this time that we have with each other in a classroom to dance. So
And like you said,
that's what it is.
we're not curing cancer. We're enjoying this time in the classroom, but we're also allowing, as an audience watches us, or as the, viewer on a Netflix show, whatever it is, watches us, we are giving them an emotional experience as well. And I think that that is so special.
Absolutely.
It is so
Absolutely.
special.
Yeah. I feel like people lose sight of the big picture.
Yeah. Well, they don't
They
now
really do.
after listening to this, Mo. I promise you, they won't. um,
every week we'll give them like a moment of zen
yeah.
of, just an experience to bring it back to reality.
Oh,
But it's
yeah,
true.
let's come back to level one ground. Let's all just, yeah,
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. This was a blast for me, and I know listeners will take so much from this, whether they're in the industry or not. It was truly an honor and so special to have you on, Mo.
It was lovely to connect with you. I feel like you and I need to connect so I can hear all about these business ventures. Your clothing company, now you have a podcast. Bravo to you for using your talents that you've had this whole
Aw,
time and just reapplying them somewhere else. Big congratulations to you.
thank you, Mo. So much love. All the best, and we will connect soon.
I love it. Take
Okay,
care.
love you. Bye.
Bye bye.
Are you kidding me? I mean, wasn't that a blast? That was such a treat for me. I hope it was a treat for you as well. It was purely entertaining to have Mo on the podcast. What a gift and a talented individual that she is. Huge part of so many professional dancers' lives. And I am so grateful to know her and have chatted with her. Thank you for listening to another episode of Briggs & Co. Team, I think we're on to like month 3. Month 3. Who would have thought? Who would have thought I'd carried it out this far? It's been a blast. And next week we have a wonderful artist, choreographer, dancer, director. Oh my goodness. We've got another one coming next week. Stay tuned for another episode of Briggs & Co. Hey team, keep leaving average for Joe.